when the ETF shows up, that will be the weapon of choice.
Yeah.
2012, you could buy a house in this country for $190,000. In 2023, the average house is $390,000. If you bought Bitcoin in 2010 or 2012,
you're doing pretty good.
You've protected your purchasing power against inflation. The question just will be, what's the cost of the house going to be in 2030?
We started at 16.5 on Bitcoin. I think we're over 44,000 at the time we're recording this. I mean, how's that feel?
It feels a lot better than it did a year ago. I got a text from a mentor and kind of a legend in the investing space, and he said, "Novo, you do a real good job on TV, but I like to see you more when Bitcoin's on the lows than doing victory laps on the highs." He was referencing my interview at CNBC yesterday.
Yeah, you were very positive, rightly so, though. People thought we were dead.
You know, people thought crypto had a shot of an existential death last year. For maybe good reason, right? There was Sam Bankman-Fried and all the fraud. And if you think at the core of what the decentralized crypto Bitcoin revolution all was about was taking trust away from institutions and sharing it in communities. Mm-hmm. And like the blockchain, which is supposed to be a trust machine, all of a sudden looked to the outsider like, we can't trust this at all. It's a fraud machine. Explaining in patience and a really, and shout out to the crypto community, resilient community, to say, no. Those were examples of centralized businesses operating in the crypto sphere that were either horrifically managed, fraudulently managed, stupidly managed, not managed.
Right.
But it brought a lot of, shame and bad will to our industry.
Yeah.
And the broom comes out, and that broom is the DOJ and CFTC and SEC and the market, and has pushed most of those players either off the field or into jail. And, what's emerged is a healthier industry, still not where we need it to be, but much healthier. Mm-hmm. Prices are reflecting that. The spirit of employees at our firm and other firms is reflecting that. The amount of accounts that are interested, institutional accounts, retail accounts, is reflecting that. And so I don't want to say we're back, baby, but we've come a long way, baby.
What were some of the big moments in your mind in the sort of crypto market this year? So just this year.
I would say Larry Fink being orange-pilled. Right, you see old videos of him from 5-6 years ago where he was a Bitcoin skeptic, and he's now saying it's going to be part of everyone's portfolio, and BlackRock's the largest asset manager. Invesco Galaxy, we're going to try to knock them off the ETF pedestal, or at least, be a good battler, competitor in that space. And I think that's important because you're going to have 9, 10, maybe, firms trying to build ETF products. That's 9, 10 sales forces going out and telling the Bitcoin story. Mm-hmm. And after that, they'll tell the Ethereum story and probably the Solana story. And so we're going to bring institutional capital into a space which has been dominated by retail. So that's exciting.
Yep.
I would say that was one. I would say CZ settling was a big deal, right? There was all this FUD around Binance, and are they another FTX, and is he a crook, and are they stealing your money? Do they have the money? And while he admitted to crimes, and he will, both pay a giant fee and maybe serve some time, for his sake, I hope not. What they got him on was KYC AML violations. And I would say, listen, I don't know all the details, and so I don't want to look on that case in particularly. Mm-hmm. But I would say, when crypto started in the first surge in the 2016, 17, 18, there was a real belief amongst the participants that everyone had a right to access these ecosystems, right? That was one of the ethos. And so guys like Arthur Hayes, who also, paid a penalty and went through the DOJ process, but most of the firms didn't have KYC. And then they realized, oh, I've created money printing machines. I don't want to lose my capacity to make a living. I don't want to lose my capacity to be part of this community. And so they quickly hired lawyers, hired regulators, hired people to try to build in protections to their firms. Some did it better than others. What people have been criticized and prosecuted for happened 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Right.
When the industry was a lot more nascent. And today, I'm sure some still goes on, but more and more of the players have really robust systems because they don't want to go to jail. Yeah. This is a good lesson in business building is some of these businesses got built so quickly,
right,
and you're hiring so many people that it takes a long time to inculcate a culture of don't do stupid. And so I was actually talking to CZ, I don't know, 4 weeks before he pled in Dubai, and we were laughing. I mean, he had, I don't know, at that point, 8,000 and gone down to 6,000 employees, and we're 450, and I was like, when we got 450 people, there's a knucklehead out there that's going to send some stupid tweet to his friend, and you just got to keep hammering on your company culture. That you're your brother's keepers, to look to the guy to your left and right and just remind him that you're working for a company and there's an ethos of the company, and don't do stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the stuff that came out in the findings, right, was just really stupid tweets.
Yeah.
Or not
chats,
tweets, but chats. And so, we live in a world where everything gets recorded somehow. And so you really got to inculcate a culture of take a beat before you tweet, take a beat before you send a chat, before you send an email.
What about the banking sort of crisis in March? How did that feel looking at it?
The banking crisis, I think, is an underrated reason why the equity market's on the highs, why everything recovered so fast. Because the Fed does what they do. They flooded the market with liquidity. They were like, and they wrote the put, we will not let anyone go bust.
Yeah.
And I think that was a psychological win for the crypto community. A, there was liquidity, but B, it was like you started in this business because you were skeptical of centralized institutions. And we now just, with all the arrogance of the Fed and our regulators, we had a regulated bank go boom overnight. We have a system that these banks are really highly levered, non-mark-to-market hedge funds.
Yep.
That have a quasi-guarantee, a maybe or maybe not guarantee from the government. So would I rather have my money in a Silicon Valley bank, or would I like it in a stable coin backed by treasury bills? Like the great product, which the Fed won't allow at this point because all of a sudden it would cut the banks at the knees, would be an interest-bearing stable coin.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people are trying to work on it. What you forget is there's about, God, I think this number's right, $2 trillion of cash out there.
Yeah.
That's $2 trillion that the Fed doesn't pay interest on. It's almost like they've got a $2 trillion version of Circle.
It's crazy.
Or Tether.
Just circulating with no eyes on it and no.
I got $1,000 cash sitting on my desk. I'm not getting my 5% on that.
Right.
You
could be. Yeah, right.
You might have your money in J.P. Morgan or Bank of America.
Hopefully not J.P. Morgan.
Yeah, hopefully not J.P. Morgan. But J.P. Morgan or Bank of America or any bank in America, and in checking you're getting 1 basis point interest, and in savings you're getting 1 basis point interest. And so all this free float, which subsidizes our banks, which subsidizes the federal government to some degree, in a world of efficiency where you would have every citizen with a wallet and the stable coin would collect interest, that float goes away.
Right.
I think this is the most progressive industry. It's like progressive plus libertarian, some weird, funny baby of left and right. But it has the capacity to really bring money and resource to the masses in a much more fair way.
As you're talking about progressives and libertarians, I think most people are well aware of the libertarian ethos behind, Chancellor on the brink of bailout for second bailout for banks, right? Which is what Satoshi wrote in the first block of Bitcoin. what political party people on Wall Street would be, it'd be uniformly Republican as a child. Like that's what I would have said. It doesn't seem true now, particularly with what we're seeing, in Congress, which we'll get into. But you're a Democrat. You're one of the most well-known Democrats on Wall Street, right? You have been.
Are either center left or center right, and they're not that far apart.
Right.
Most rational people tend to be center left or center right. I shifted from center left towards progressive for a while because I was like, whoa, in 30 years, the rich-poor gap has just gotten immense from the time I graduated from college. In the last 12 years, the cost of a house in America has gone from $190,000 to $390,000. It's harder and harder for people in the bottom 70% to actually fulfill their dreams. And I thought we need to do some more radical things. I don't think we should do them inefficiently. I don't think we should do them where markets don't play a part. And so you can call me progressive, you can call me center left. I think crypto had that capacity to help. I think it still does. What has been freaking infuriating is it's the progressive wing that doesn't want to see it that way. And I tell you, I've been in DC a lot recently. Yeah. There's bipartisan agreement, quite frankly, on the two different bills that are already there, on the stablecoin bill and on the...
Right, there'll be some push and pull, but like people would put something forth if they could.
100%, and it is this small cabal that's stopping it.
I was going to ask what this wing of the Democratic Party's problem, what is their problem with crypto? I don't understand
I have not gotten it explained to me, and I've asked a ton of people. It's only used for bad stuff. It's only rich guys made money. The poor guys lost all their money. I was like, that's actually not the case. This is the first revolution where it started with the little guy. Matter of fact, I was like one of the only institutional. Dan Moorhead, there were a few players that got in early.
Right. Very few.
Most of the people got in early. You never heard their names.
I mean, right now, if you do the math, if you had dollar cost averaged Bitcoin every day for like the last 3 years, even bought the top in 21, you're still in profit. Like, right? So like the average guy could put $5 a day into Bitcoin, you'd have made money.
And none of us,
over any time frame.
And none of us have ever tried to argue that there was no fraud, that there were no bad actors, that there were no rug pulls and
or that
spoofs.
It's a panacea for everything. No one has...
Yeah. Again, and there was a mania. There's manias a lot. There was a mania in Beanie Babies. There was a mania in NFTs.
There's a mania in certain meme stocks. There's,
You know, that's human nature. And I do think it comes to an end, right? We've got an election. Either the Republicans will win or the Democrats win. I think there's a change in leadership in Treasury and in SEC, and either way. What is promising is the broad Congress wants to get something done. 2012, you could buy a house in this country for $190,000. In 2023, the average house is $390,000. It has doubled in 12 years.
It's unbelievable.
That's insanity. So if you're a young kid coming out of school, you're screwed.
Yeah, it stinks if you happen to graduate right in 2009.
But let me tell you, if you bought Bitcoin in 2010 or 2012, you've protected your purchasing power against inflation. I mean, that's the simple argument for Bitcoin. The question just will be, what's the cost of a house going to be in 2030? I think when the ETF shows up, that will be the weapon of choice.